Welcome to This Explainer. Today we are diving deep into the ultimate workshop planning guide. Look, we're on a mission to transform Australian corporate event organizers, training managers, L&D teams, associations, and facilitators from everyday meeting bookers into strategic architects of highly productive workshops. If you've ever been tasked with planning an event for a government department or a professional services firm and just felt completely overwhelmed by the logistics, you are in exactly the right place.
Okay, we're going to break this definitive 12-step blueprint down into 4 high-level phases. Phase 1 is the true workshop purpose. Phase 2 covers laying the groundwork. Phase 3 is building the experience. And finally, Phase 4 tackles execution and measurement. Let's get into it.
But before we get into the nuts and bolts of the blueprint, let's start with a rather painful question. Why do so many corporate workshops fail to achieve anything? I mean, we've all been there, right? We've all suffered through a terrible day-long lecture masquerading as a workshop where absolutely nothing gets decided, no action is taken, and everyone leaves completely exhausted, basically surviving on nothing but stale pastries. Well, this usually happens because the fundamental structure of the event is flawed from day one.
It really comes down to this contrast. A traditional meeting relies on passive updates and, polite nodding. A successful workshop, on the other hand, absolutely demands active participation, real problem solving, and concrete action planning. It's an interactive engine designed to solve a specific business problem or build a strategy. It's not just a passive information dump from a speaker to a captive audience.
Right, let's jump straight into Phase 1, the true workshop purpose, which is all about step 1 of our blueprint. Imagine your objective is simply to, quote, discuss our customer experience. Ooh, if your workshop goal is that broad, your session is already in deep trouble. It's actually a super common planning mistake. Without a defined, concrete outcome, discussions easily derail. They become entirely unfocused, and your participants leave completely unsure of what was actually achieved. Now contrast that vague idea with something like this. Identify the 3 most significant customer service issues and agree on actions, owners, and completion dates. Boom. What's really cool about this specific, measurable objective is that it instantly clarifies exactly who needs to be in the room, how you need to design your activities, and exactly how you'll measure success at the end. You're deciding upfront what participants should know, create, or complete by the time they walk out the door.
Okay, moving on to Phase 2, laying the groundwork. This covers steps 2, 3, 4, and 7 of our process. For step 2, you absolutely must design the session around the attendees. Having a massive attendance list does not automatically produce a better result. You've got to invite only those with relevant knowledge or the direct authority to actually implement the outcomes. So consider their roles, their subject knowledge, and their accessibility needs to ensure total, absolute engagement from everyone in the room. Then we hit step 3, selecting the right format. As you'd expect, in-person is ideal for complex discussions and collaborative problem-solving. Virtual is fantastic for geographically dispersed teams and shorter info-sharing sessions. Hybrid definitely improves access, but a quick warning. It requires really careful facilitation so your remote participants aren't left behind. The main takeaway, your format should always be driven by your specific objective, not just logistical convenience. Please don't force a complex strategy session into a 1-hour virtual call just to save time. It never works. Skipping ahead slightly to step 7, let's talk room layout, because layout directly influences participation. In fact, standard rows of chairs can actively discourage collaboration. Cabaret style is highly effective for interactive workshops because groups can collaborate easily without constantly dragging heavy furniture around. U-shape is brilliant for discussion, classroom style works for note-taking, and the classic boardroom setup is best for strategic executive sessions. Whatever you choose, just make sure everyone has crystal clear sightlines to the facilitator. Tying all this groundwork together in step 4 is the venue itself, because the environment literally dictates concentration levels. Opting for a purpose-built venue with built-in AV, flexible furniture, and solid operational support is the gold standard. For example, using Carston's national CBD locations across Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Perth, and Adelaide. For Australian event organisers running national programs, this guarantees absolute consistency. You maintain uniform room layouts and reliable tech across multiple cities through just one contact, keeping your attendees comfortable and, most importantly, focused.
All right, Phase 3, building the experience. This covers steps 5, 6, 8, and 9.
For step 6, which is selecting activities, you want to avoid those superficial interactive gimmicks that just kill time. Nobody likes those.
Instead, use a strategic combination of individual thinking, small group work, and whole room discussion. A fantastic hack is using silent idea generation first, followed by group discussion. It completely prevents the loudest, most confident voices in the room from just hijacking the whole shebang. Now, for steps 5 and 9, your agenda and catering schedule, you have to respect the golden time frame, 60 to 90 minutes. Human brains literally need a break or at least a major shift in activity every 90 minutes maximum to maintain energy. An overloaded, back-to-back agenda will completely drain the room. And make sure you have quality catering. Fresh, balanced food supports concentration, and getting all those dietary requirements meticulously handled by the venue in advance is a total lifesaver.
Step 8. Technology. We all know tech should empower a workshop, not, cause a minor panic attack. Always, always test your room microphones, your high-speed Wi-Fi, and your presentation files long before that first participant even walks through the door. Utilizing purpose-built venues with integrated AV and on-site support practically eliminates those dreaded "can you see my screen" delays and presenter stress when tech hiccups inevitably pop up.
Finally, we reach phase 4, execution and measurement, encompassing steps 10 through 12. Steps 10 and 11 are all about following a strict chronological timeline to keep everything flawlessly on track. 4 to 8 weeks out, you book the venue. 2 weeks before, lock in that catering and brief the venue team with exact participant numbers and dietary needs. The day before, test that tech. Following this strict timeline ensures your attendees get practical info exactly when they need it, without being overwhelmed by a flood of unnecessary emails. And that brings us to step 12, measuring success. Because let's be honest, happy smiles on feedback forms do not move the business forward. The true evidence of a successful workshop lies in tangible business progress. You are looking for a completed action plan, explicitly assigned responsibilities, and firm deadlines confirmed before anyone even leaves the room. You have to compare those end results directly against that highly specific objective we set all the way back in step 1. So as you sit down to plan your next corporate event or training session, ask yourself, will this just be another meeting that probably could have been an email, or will it be a real catalyst for action? Use this 12-step explainer to set clear objectives, choose the perfect venue, design meaningful activities, and build an experience that actually drives results. Thanks so much for joining us, and happy planning.